Hey guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how to make this Loomigurumi Goose design, which was designed by me. So I shared this design a long while ago on my channel and I've just never really come back to it. I don't know why, I think I just got distracted by other designs and I just never came back to the goose. But yeah, here it is and I'm finally making a tutorial for it. I just posted that the goose tutorial is coming soon in the community tab. And some people are like, I've been waiting 7 months and I'm so sorry if I let you guys wait so long for this design. To be honest, I didn't know so many people wanted the design. I don't know, I tend to forget. That's why I always say it's a good idea if you're waiting for a design that I've teased before to just, casually mention it and remind me, because I forget sometimes what I make. So when you guys are like, hey, what happened to this? I'm like, oh, right, that. Completely forgot. And then I come back to it. So yeah, but sorry about the wait for this guy, but here he is getting a tutorial now. And here's the design. This was kind of like the first version, I guess, and this is like the final version. I added wings. I felt like he needed wings. I think that's pretty much all I changed. I just added wings, and the beak's a little longer, but other than that, it's pretty much the same design. And I can show you how to make the beak a little shorter. Basically, you'll just not do one of the rows and it'll be really short. But I kind of like how it looks longer. I don't know. To me, this looks more like a goose. But yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, I hope you like this design and decide to make it. I really love it. I think it's cute. I also feel like this kind of looks like that goose that holds the knife from the Goose game. I feel like that's kind of what inspired this goose. I honestly don't remember why I made a goose. I think I did make this design last year when I was about to head to London. Yeah. I don't know, are geese in London? I feel like that's why I made it. Are goose in London thing? I don't know. Anyways, rambly long intro. We're gonna get into it. So, I don't know how many bands this design takes. I haven't done a band count yet as of when I'm filming this. As per usual of recently, if you want to know the band count, you're gonna have to check down in the description below. If I was to guess though, my guess is it probably takes around 200 bands, so it's not too band heavy. It might take a little less than that, but my guess is somewhere around 200 bands. And yeah, of course, to make this you're gonna need a hook of some kind. Today I'm gonna be using my double-ended hook, but you can use whatever hook you want. Crochet hook, Rainbowloom hook, any other kind of hook, plastic hook. I just use this hook because I really love this hook. You're also gonna want a C-clip or just something to mark your rows with. So C-clip, S-clip, G-clip, whatever, just something to mark where you start and end. It doesn't have to be a C-clip. You're also gonna want some stuffing, some eyes if you want to give him eyes. You could also use black bands, but I have these beads. I always get questions on where these beads are from. These are 4mm round beads I got from Amazon. I don't know what kind they are. I just put round beads and 4mm into Amazon and I bought one of them. And the very last thing is you are going to, of course, want some bands for the colors that you want your goose to be. I'm using Sweet's orange, I guess, for the beak and the legs again, and then my goose is just gonna be white. So that's pretty much everything you need. You're gonna want to gather all that, and then you can come back and we're gonna get started. I'm trying to think if I had anything else to say before we get started, but I think that's pretty much it. Oh, one last note. Difficulty of this design. I don't think it's too difficult. I think what makes this design hard, or what might make this design hard, is how thin we get, like for the neck and like with the head. I've noticed that a lot of beginners struggle whenever designs tend to be a little smaller and thinner, so just keep that in mind, that this design does get kind of small when we do the neck area, which I know can be a little confusing, but other than that, it's honestly not too difficult. It's a pretty easy design. There's not too much attaching, so it should be good. But yeah, we're gonna get started. As always, the pattern and everything else will be in the description if you want to follow along with the pattern, as well as when we're while we're making it. I just marked my camera. It's fine. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So we're going to get started. I was just adjusting my light a little bit. It's funny because I mentioned this in my last tutorial as well, but I went on that month hiatus from tutorials. So now coming back into it, I'm like, okay, did I say everything I needed to say in the intro? Did I miss anything? But hopefully I didn't. So we're gonna get started. So we're gonna get started with the main goose body. We add the beak, eyes, and wings and all that after. So we're just gonna start at pretty much the head of the goose and then work our way down. So we start here and here. I don't know what other color gooses are. I mean, they're probably a bunch of, I'm just making a white goose again. Okay, so to start. Also, just a quick note, oh my god, this intro is so long, I'm so sorry. My hands have white paint on them because I was working on something in the studio earlier, and basically I washed them and whatever came off, and whatever stayed, and I was not about to scrub all the white paint off my hands, I just accepted it. Now we're ready. So we're gonna start with a triple cap band with 6 stitches in it. If you already know how to do that, you can go ahead and do it, but of course I'm gonna explain, it's a tutorial. Yeah. So we're gonna start by wrapping a band 3 times around our hook. So this is gonna be 1, 2, 3, and then we're gonna pull the band through the entire cap band, put both ends back on our hook, push the back one over the front one. And as you can see, I'm kind of holding onto this cap band. That's just so it doesn't come loose. Whenever you have triple cap bands, they kind of are a little, I don't know. Sometimes this band we flip over will want to go over it, so it's a good idea just to hold it, at least for this first stitch. But now we're going to go back in through the whole cap band, so make sure you go through the whole thing. We're going to pull the band through just the cap band, so not this last loop. We're going to put both ends back on our hook, push the back one over the front one, and then push the loop from last time over as well. And that'll be our second stitch. So now we're going to repeat that same thing we just did 4 more times, so we have 6 loops in the cap band. So we're just going to go back into the cap band. We're going to pull the band through just the cap band. We're going to put both ends back on our hook. We're going to push the back one over the front one, and then we're going to push the loop from last time over as well. And I'll show you that again. Let me make sure my camera's focused. So we go through the cap band. We pull a band through just the cap band, both ends back on your hook, push the back one over the front one, and then push the loop from last time over as well. We just do that 2 more times, we have 6 stitches. Just lost the band. I don't know why, but when I was talking right there, like I was trying to focus on giving instructions, but in my brain I was like, man, why do I sound like I have such a country accent today? Like, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like randomly you can hear I'm from Texas and I kind of hate it. So I was like having a moment in my brain like, man, I can hear my Texas accent, but it's fine. Anyways, I just did 6 stitches, so I'm going to want to count to make sure I have 6. And the way we're going to count is we're going to start by counting the one on our hook. So this one's going to be 1. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. Hopefully you can see what I counted. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now instead of going into the loop, into the cap band, we're going to go into this first loop here, and we're going to pull a band through just the loop, both ends back on our hook, push the back one over the front one, and then push the loop from last time over as well. And we're going to put our C-clip on this one. So that was our first row. For the next row, we're going to be increasing every other, and what that basically means is we're going to alternate between doing an increase and then a single stitch. And a single stitch is basically what we just did, so we just put 1 stitch into the loop. And like I said, we're alternating between doing single stitches and increases, so because we just did a single stitch, which is just the 1 stitch in the loop, the next one's going to be an increase. And if you don't know what an increase is, all an increase is just 2 stitches in the same loop. So we're going to go into the next loop. We're going to pull a band through that loop, put both ends back on our hook, push the back one over the front one, push the loop from last time over as well. We're going to go back through that same loop, and we're just going to make another stitch. And then that'll be an increase. So we put 2 stitches in that loop. And because we just did an increase, we're going to do a single stitch. So you just put 1 stitch in this loop. And then because we just did a single stitch, the next one's going to be an increase. And yeah, we're just going to keep doing that. So we're just alternating between doing single stitches and increases. So I'll just keep showing you. So we have 1 single stitch. So we just do 1 stitch. And the next one's an increase. So we're going to do 2 stitches in the same loop. And then once you get to the C-clip, you're going to make a stitch on the one that has a C-clip on it. So on the loop that has a C-clip on it. And then you're going to take the C-clip off the loop it's on and move it up onto the loop that is on your hook. So like that. And now if we count around, we should be at 9 loops. So we're just going to count real quick. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. like that. I also just want to remind you, if I'm going a little fast, you can always pause and catch up and then like come see the next step when you're done. I do know I know I tend to loom a little fast. I try to go slow, but sometimes I swear I just have a need for speed or something, because I just go really fast. But yeah, I feel like sometimes I forget to breathe. I'm like, breathe. I felt like I was going a little faster. That's why I mentioned the whole thing. But yeah. Oh my god. Okay, but for the next step, we're going to be doing one row normal, which just basically means one row of single stitches. So we're not increasing in all this row. We're just going to do a row of single stitches all the way around, and at the end of this row we should still be at 9 loops. And I'm picking up bands because I always gotta tell you when I pick up bands. I just dropped a band. I don't know where it went. Okay. So like I said, we're just gonna do a row around of single stitches. So we're just gonna be putting pretty much just one stitch per loop all the way around. So we're just doing one stitch per loop all the way around until we get to the C-clip. So we're just doing single stitches all the way around. Like that. And then once you get to the one with the C-clip on it, you're going to make a stitch on the one that has the C-clip on it. You're going to move it up, so you're going to take it off the loop it's on and move it up onto the loop that is on your hook. So like I said, we should still be at 9 loops. So if we count around, we should still be at 9. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So for the next row, we're going to be decreasing on 2 specific stitches. So we're going to decrease on the 3rd stitch and the 4th stitch. If you have no idea what that means, do not worry. I'm walking you through it. That's what the point of this video is. But yeah, I'll explain in a second. I always hate that if I have to take water breaks, like I can't pause. I just gotta leave it in. Also because like I could come find this like moment when I'm drinking water and edit it out, but sometimes it's a lot. So sorry for like these 10 seconds of silence while I drink water. I apologize, like I don't have to drink water. I have no idea. But what was I doing? Thoughts, man. I don't know. This is another tutorial I'm filming at night again, so I feel like by nighttime my brain's always a little everywhere, so if I seem a little everywhere, that's why. Anyways, we're gonna be decreasing on the 3rd and the 4th. So this is gonna be the first, the one with the C-clip on it. So we're gonna do another single stitch. That one's gonna be the 2nd. So basically we just did 2 single stitches. We have the one with the C-clip on it, and then we just did one more. On these next 2 loops, we're gonna do decreases. So what a decrease is you're going to grab the inside part of one loop, and then the back part of the next loop, and then you just make a stitch like you usually would. Like that. So I'll show you that again because we have to do 2 decreases in a row. And that was our first one, so we're gonna do another decrease right after it. So we grab the inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop, make a stitch, and that's a decrease. So those were our 2 decreases for this row. We did them on the 3rd and the 4th, and the rest of the way is just going to be single stitches. So you're just going to do single stitches the rest of the way. And at the end of this row we should be at 7 loops, so So once you get to the C-clip, you're gonna move it up. Like that. And now if you count around, you should be at 7 loops. You should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like that. So now what we're gonna do next is we're gonna do another row kind of similar to the one we just did. We're gonna decrease on the 2nd, and then the rest of the way is gonna be single stitches, and after this row we should be at 6 loops. I'm sorry, brain's not functioning. We should be at 6 loops. So the 2nd is the one right after the C-clip. So we just did the one with the stitch with a C-clip, And on the next one, we're gonna do a decrease. So we're gonna grab the inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop. We're just gonna go ahead and make a stitch. And then the rest of the way is just gonna be single stitches. And this is where it's gonna start getting a little tight. So as you can see, it's kind of getting harder to see where I'm looming just because of how tight it is. And it's gonna stay like this for a little bit. But we're just gonna do single stitches until we get to the C-clip. And then once you do get to the C-clip, you're just gonna make a stitch on the loop that has a C-clip on it, and you're gonna move it up. Like that. And like I said, now if you count around, you should be at 6 loops. So you start by counting the one on your hook. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Like that. I did take all my pens away. I had to fix something in my pattern. And of course, got rid of every single one of my pens. Okay. So now we're as thin as we get for the neck, so it doesn't get any smaller than this, but we are going to have to do 5 rows normal, so just 5 rows of single stitches, just going around. At the end of each of these rows, you should still be at 6 loops. I'm going to stay and do the first 2 rows with you, and then I'm going to go off camera and do the rest. I'm sorry, I felt like I was going to sneeze there, and I had to like pause, but no sneeze came. So yeah, we're gonna do 5 rows normal, just 5 rows of single stitches. I'm doing 2 with you, leaving for the other 3. You know, I swear that there's some days that I feel like I can't speak, and today is one of those days. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna do 2 rows normal with you, so just 2 rows of single stitches, and then you'll do the rest on your own. Anyways. So we're just gonna go around, just doing single stitches all the way around. And these rows are gonna go really quickly. I could honestly probably stay and do all 5 with you, but just because it's repetitive, I'm gonna go off. But like, you're just doing 1 stitch per loop, and then when you get to the C-clip, you just make a stitch on the one with the C-clip, and you move it up. And that was already 1 row of single stitches. So we have to do 5 of those total. So I have 4 more to go. I'm gonna go ahead and do the second one. So yeah, like I said, this goes pretty quick. But you're just doing 1 stitch per loop. And if you wanted, at the end of each of these rows, you could count to make sure you have 6. If you're worried you increased accidentally or something, I definitely would. Or if you're not very good with like tighter loom things. But for me, I'm just gonna count once I get to the end of all these rows. So that was my second row of single stitches. Like I said, we have to do 5 total. I wasn't expecting the 2 rows to go that quickly, but I'm gonna go off camera. I'm gonna do the other 3 rows. Like I said, at the end of each of the rows, you should still be at 6 loops. I'll come back and like count to make sure I still have 6 when I finish the other 3 rows. But yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna go off camera, do the 3 rows. That felt so quick. I feel like I did nothing, but these rows go quick because there's like hardly any loops. But yeah, so I'll be back once I do the other 3 rows. So we have 5 rows total. Okay, so I just finished the 5 rows. I swear those rows went the rows went so quickly because I did the 2 on camera. I left to do the other 3, and it didn't even take me 5 minutes. I literally just, yeah. So after you do the 5 rows of single stitches, it should be looking something like this. So you should have like a long neck. If you lost track of rows, you can kind of compare yours to how like mine looks and see if it looks correct, or yours might just have a slightly longer or shorter neck. I honestly feel like this is one of those designs that like it's not a huge deal if you forgot a row or like added a row, because it just means either your goose has a long neck or he has a stubby neck. Like, it's not that serious. But yeah, so once you're at this point, like I said, you should still be at 6 loops, so if you count, you should still have 6. My camera would focus, there we go. So you should have, you always start by counting the one on your hook, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, like that. So for the next row, what we're gonna do is we are going to start adding like the butt / tail, I don't know what, like this region, I guess. It's pretty much his butt. And yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do like a weird kind of chain up thing. If you've made my duck design before, It's similar to that, how we like chain out and make the tail for the duck. It's very similar to that. It's not too complicated, so you should be good. We should be good. And once again, I always forget to pick up bands before I come back, so I'm picking up some bands real quick. And I always feel the need to inform you for no apparent reason. But yeah, picking up some bands. You know, I was trying to think before I like filmed the tutorial, because I was like, should I make another white goose, or like should I do a different color goose? And I'm like, what other color gooses or geeses? Geeses? Goose? I don't know. Are there? So I made another white one, but I don't know. I kind of think pastel geeses could be cute, but then again, I think pastel anything could be cute, so don't trust me. But anyways, so the next step. So we're going to be doing the weird chain up thing right here on the second stitch. So the one directly after the C-clip is when we're going to start adding like the tail slash butt. So this is the one that has my C-clip on it. We're going to go into the next stitch, and we're going to kind of chain up two, but the way I like to do the chain up thing is we're going to do the first chain. So basically, I just realized I haven't explained this. Basically what chaining is you're going to go through the next loop like you're going to make a stitch. You're going to pull that band through and put both ends back on your hook. But instead of pushing the back one over the front one, you're just going to leave it on your hook. And then we're going to take another band. We're going to pull it through, both ends back on our hook, and then we're going to put the back one over the front one of this one. And then we're going to put the loop from last time over as well. So as you can kind of see, we've created this weird thing that now has a stitch in it. We're going to go back into that weird chain, and we're going to make another stitch. So we're going to pull a band through, both ends back on our hook, push the back one over the front one, and then push the loop from last time over as well. So now you can kind of see that there's two stitches in this chain. We're going to go back into the chain, and we're going to chain up one more. So we're going to pull a band through, we're going to put both ends back on our hook, and then basically in this chain we're going to be putting 4 stitches. I believe it's 4. Is it 4? It is 4. I can't remember if it was 4 or 5, and I always never trust my patterns, but it is 4. But yeah, so we're just going to pull the band through, both ends back on our hook, push the back one over the front one, and then push the loop from last time over as well. And we're just going to repeat that 3 more times in this like top section, just so there's 4 stitches in here. So just do it 4 more times. And I'm doing what I'm doing really slow so you can see. If you're confused at all, I really recommend watching what I'm doing and then trying to do it. I feel like that helps. I'm also really trying to keep my fingers out of the way, but sometimes it's so hard to do. But yeah, basically all we did was we just made 4 stitches into this like top loop section. But once you did 4 in this top one, we're going to come down, and as you can see, there's like the other half of this first chain. We're going to go through that, and we're going to do 2 stitches. So we're just going to go ahead and do 1, go back in and do another stitch, 2. And then that will be the start of our tail bit. So if you're confused on what we did, what we basically did is we chained up 1, we put 2 stitches into that chain, then we chained up another, we put 4 stitches into that bit, then we kind of came back around and put 2 stitches on the other side. And it should be looking something like this. But once you've done that, I believe, okay, we're also increasing this row as well. There's a lot happening. But we're going to increase on the 4th. So this whole thing was on the 2nd. We're going to go ahead and do 1 single stitch. So we just did a single stitch under the next loop. And then on this one right here, we're going to do an increase. So we're going to just put 2 stitches in this one. And then the rest of the way is going to be single stitches. Actually, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. These next 2 are actually increases. So this one's an increase on the 4th. So we just, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm confusing everybody. So this butt thing, or like his tail, was on the 2nd. We did 1 single stitch, and then on the 4th and the 5th we're going to increase. So we have 2nd, tail, 1 single stitch, an increase, and then the one right next to it we're going to increase as well. And then it's going to be single stitches the rest of the way. So we'll go into the next one, do a single stitch, and then we should be at the C-clip. So we'll just do a single stitch on the one that has a C-clip on it and move it up. And now if we count around, I believe we should be at 15 loops, but let me count to make sure. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So you should be at 15 loops. And if that was all a little confusing, like I said, I really recommend pausing and then going back and seeing what I did. If not, you can also check the pattern in the description. Hopefully that'll help as well. This part is probably the most confusing part of this whole pattern. But now that we've kind of done it and we've kind of like, I guess, set ourselves up for the rest of the rows and like we've increased out his butt, we should be good. But yeah. I just always feel bad because I'm like, I don't want someone to be struggling and like just getting all frustrated. So yeah, just everything's fine, hopefully. Sending good vibes your way. Anyways, so we're gonna be increasing on a couple stitches this row. It should be the, I can't read my writing. Where are we increasing? We're increasing on the second. Let me make sure that's right. Hold up, sorry. Because that doesn't seem right. It's because I was having issues with a couple things the first time I wrote this down. So I'm like not totally trusting my numbers. It took me so long to figure out like the butt on this guy. I don't know why. It was just like not cooperating. So I'm gonna go double check my pattern real quick and then I'm gonna come back and tell you what to do because I don't want to mess up. Okay, so I double checked my pattern. I did have it slightly wrong, and the reason why I think I keep having it slightly wrong is because I had to undo the tail so many times. I think I already said that, but it's okay. Anyways, so we're gonna be increasing on the 3rd and 7th this row. I'll show you where that is in case you're a little lost on my counting system, because I feel like my counting system confuses some people, but yeah, we're increasing on the 3rd and the 7th. Don't pull your hook out, I just always do that on accident. But this one's gonna be the first, so the next one's a single stitch, so that's 2. So we have 1 with a single loop on it, and then 2. And then this next one is gonna be our increase, so we're gonna increase on this one. Like that. And then we're gonna do 3 single stitches, so we're just gonna do 3 single stitches across the back here, so we have 1, 2, and then 3. And then after we do those 3 single stitches, we're going to increase again. So we're going to increase right here. And then after this one, it's going to be single stitches the rest of the way. Like that. And then we're just going to do single stitches, like I said already, the rest of the way until we get to the C-clit. We're just going to do single stitches the rest of the way. And I ran out of bands again, so I'm picking them up. But yeah. You know, I'm surprised how quickly this goose is coming together. Like I already mentioned, probably like twice, I really struggled when I was writing down the pattern, figuring out how the heck I did the tail. And like I cannot tell you how many times I redid the tail until I got it right. So now like having like not worry about figuring that out, it's like going so quickly. It might not feel that way for you, but for me, who was like, I think I struggled for a while because I've been wanting to make the tutorial for this guy since like spring break, which was like the second week of March, and I was just like, I cannot figure it out. So I took a break from it and then I came back like this weekend. Yeah, literally I came back to it on Friday and then I finally figured it out and I was like, oh my god. I never learn and write down patterns as I make things. I'm just like, no, it like ruins my creative juices, so I'm just gonna have to like figure it out later. Anyways. So that was that row. We should be at 17 stitches now. So if we count, we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 1, 17. Yeah. Yeah, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, it's 17. Sorry, I'm filling in things on my pattern. So now we are going to do one row normal, so we're just gonna do another one row single stitches all the way around. We already did this earlier, so I'm not gonna explain it in too much detail. And once again, as always, I'm picking up bands. I don't know why I feel I feel like I'd be having this crisis in most of my, I'm like, why do I always have to tell you I'm picking up bands? But I do, it's like a habit. But yeah, we're just gonna do a row of single stitches all the way around. So we're just gonna be doing 1 stitch per loop until we get to the C-clip. And at the end of this row, we should still be at 17. So I'm just gonna talk while we do this row. But the reason why I have paint all over my hands, and I don't know if I said why, I said I was painting something, but I was painting because I built a canvas this weekend, which is incredibly exciting. So if you don't know, I am in college, I am an art major, I'm studying painting, and I built my first ever canvas this weekend. It took up most of my weekend. I was kind of delusional, and I got there on Saturday, and I didn't even pack lunch with me, because sometimes when I go to the school and I know I'm gonna be there a while, I'll like pack lunch because I'm like, I'm gonna get hungry. But I didn't pack lunch because I was like, I'm gonna do this in like 2 hours, like easy. And I fully blame my teacher for making me believe the delusion that it was gonna take me 2 hours, because he made it look so easy. Like, he built it and he was just like, yep, I just built a canvas. And I was like, cool, I totally got this. It took me probably 5 hours to build it, because I had to like cut all the wood, and then after I cut all the wood, I had to like hand saw some of the pieces, nail everything together, glue and nail everything together. And then after that, I still had to like stretch like the cloth like canvas around it. And I just didn't like factor in how much time that was gonna take, and it took me 5 hours. So yeah, so that was my weekend. And the reason why my hands are like, have like random, this hand actually has no random splotches, white, I guess it's just really this one. But the reason why my hand has like some random white splotches is because I was like priming my canvas today, getting it ready to paint tomorrow. Which tomorrow's Monday, so I have school again. But yeah, so it was fun building the canvas, but I can't believe I literally went there and was like, I already, because like I've built a couple wood panels this semester, so I thought, oh, this is gonna be easy. It's gonna take me like 2 hours max. And I was so wrong, and it was hilarious. But yeah, it was really fun to build my own wood panel, and yeah. Anyways, so we're gonna count around real quick. We should be at 17 loops still. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Like that. So now we're going to be decreasing basically 2 on the end here. I'm not sure if the number I wrote down is right, so we're just gonna go and then I'll tell you where it is. But if you wanna know the correct, like where they're placed, just check the pattern in the description. I just really don't trust the numbers I wrote down right now. But we're gonna do 1, hold up. Let me just check. Okay, so we're gonna decrease, I was right, these numbers are off by 1. So we're gonna decrease on the 4th and the 5th, basically, I'm sorry, I don't know what that was. I can speak tonight. Anyways, we're gonna do 3 single stitches. This one, of course, will be our first. This is 1, 2, 3. And then on these stitches right here, we're gonna do 2 decreases. So on the first one, grab the inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop, make a stitch, and then we're gonna do it again on the ones right after. So inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop, make a stitch. And then the rest of the way is gonna be single stitches. And that was us decreasing on the 4th and 5th. I feel like I always make things sometimes sound more complicated than they actually are. That's why sometimes in my tutorials I'm like, I really need to just like not over explain it and just like go for it and do it. But then sometimes I'm like, maybe I need to explain. But then I always feel like in the moment whenever I'm filming a tutorial, I'm like, I explained that horribly. And then I'll go back and watch it and I'm like, okay, I actually did okay. I just feel like in the moment I'm like, am I making any sense? Probably not. But yeah, so in case I forgot to mention, we're doing single stitches the rest of the way, and that's why I'm talking, because we've been doing a lot of single stitches, so we're just doing single stitches the rest of the way. And I need more bands. I'm actually running out of bands over here. I really want to do the band count for this goose because I'm not sure, like as of when I'm not quite sure how many bands this guy takes, and I feel like he's not too band heavy, which is nice. It was funny because when I showed my sister this goose design, she was like, you should give him a knife because of, like I said, the meme with the goose with the knife, and I was like, I should, but no, this one doesn't believe in violence, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Man. You know, going back to the panel thing though, by the way, I'm just picking up bands, and that's why I'm talking. Once again, felt the need to tell you I'm picking up bands. I don't know why I do that. I think I just need to accept that I do that, but it has been really fun this semester building like my panels and things to paint on. I built 3 wood panels this semester, and I just built my first canvas, so it's been really cool. Because like, I don't know, I never saw myself as someone who's like building things, but then this semester I've been like building things, so I don't know, I think it's kind of cool and interesting. Anyways, so we're gonna count around. We should be at 15 loops, so we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And my camera battery light is flashing at me, so I'm gonna go change out my battery and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, battery has been changed. I didn't even look to see what this battery was charged at, so hopefully it's fully charged. But yeah, that was it for that row. So for the next row, we're going to be doing something kind of similar. We're decreasing 1 in the back here, basically. But if you need to know what specific stitch it is, let me check. Oh, okay, it is right in the pattern. Okay, so we're going to decrease on the 3rd. And not every 3rd, we're just decreasing on the 3rd. So we're only decreasing 1. Just making sure my camera's focused. So this one, once again, the one with the C-clip on it's always the first one. So this is 1. This one's going to be 2. If I could pull the band through. 2. And then on this next one right here, we're going to do a decrease. So we're going to grab the inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop, and then make a stitch. Like that. And then that was the one decrease for this whole row. So the rest of the way, we're just going to do single stitches all the way around. So we're just going to do single stitches until we get to the C-clip. So we're just doing 1 stitch per loop all the way until the C-clip, like I already said. Yeah. You know, it's kind of weird how I have fallen a little bit out of practice with tutorials. Like, I feel like when I was like putting a tutorial out every 2 weeks, I was like on a roll. Like, I sat down, I knew what I had to do. But that month off really kind of threw me for a loop. I feel like you could tell a little bit in like this tutorial and the last one I did. But it's good to be back. It's good to be back. I missed it, and yeah, I really missed it. It's just, I filmed a video, I don't know if it'll be out before this one, where I kind of just talk about what's been going on in my life. School this semester knocked me out. It's just been so busy. But I am having a good semester. It's been fun. And like I already talked to you guys about how I'm building wood panels, and I don't know, I'm really like enjoying doing that. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. But I'm also like so excited just to have the summer off and have some time to like breathe, because I feel like art school is like a lot of information like right now, like just like throwing it at you. It's just like so much to take in. And I found from past semesters and like other art classes I've taken, sometimes it's good to just like have a couple months to like breathe and just like take everything they've been telling you in, and then come back like in the fall or another semester and just like really like focus. So yeah. It's been a lot, but it's been a good time. Anyways, my camera keeps going blurry, but I finished the row. So if we count around, we should be at 14 loops. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And your goose should be looking something like this. Right now is honestly probably a good time to try to stuck the neck and head, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And you can take your hook out at this point, and the C-clip should hold it as long as you don't pull too hard on it. But I'm just going to try to shove some stuffing up into his head and neck, because later it gets a little hard to try to shove it all the way up there. We honestly probably should have stuffed his head a little while ago, but it's too late now, so we just got to live with what we've done and just try to shove it up there. I found that using your hook, so like if you put some stuffing in and then just use your hook to like shove it the rest of the way, that works pretty well because, yeah, I always forget to stick stuffing in the head and neck, and then like at this point I'm just like trying to stuff it. But yeah, you should be able to put some stuffing in the neck and then like shove it all the way up to the head. That's works pretty well for me. I've had to do this twice already. But yeah, I shove the stuffing just using my hook all the way up to the head. So now I'm gonna go ahead and stuff the neck real quick. We don't need to stuff the like butt yet at all. I would wait another row before we do that. But just making sure we have stuffing in like the head and the neck, and don't overstuff the neck because the neck is pretty thin, so just shove some stuffing in the neck, but you don't need a ton. Also, this neck, like, it is kind of thin, but we don't need to stick anything else in it. It honestly, like, it kind of just holds on its own. That's what I'm trying to say. You can kind of just squish the stuffing around the neck, trying not to overstuff it. Yeah, I should have told you guys to stuff it sooner than I did, but we're at this point now, like I already mentioned. It's too late for us. Okay, oops, I just dropped my whole goose. Okay, so for the next row, we're gonna be decreasing every other after we finish stuffing our neck. My neck and head, they're all completely stuffed now. But yeah, we're gonna decrease every other, and this is kind of similar to what we did at the start with increase every other, but now we're decreasing, so we're alternating between doing a single stitch and then a decrease. And that's pretty much it, so I'll show you. So this first one we did here, the one with the C-clip on it, is going to be our single stitch, so the next one's going to be a decrease, so you grab the inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop, and you just make a stitch. And then because we just did a decrease, the next one's going to be a single stitch, so we're going to do a single stitch. And then because we just did a single stitch, the next one's going to be a decrease, so we grab the inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop, make a stitch. And then we pretty much just continue doing this all the way around. So you're just alternating between doing a single stitch and then doing a decrease. And we just keep doing this until we get to the C-clip. And right now is when we're really starting to like close it up. And believe it or not, we have like one step left, and then our goose body, I guess, is pretty much done. And then we just gotta add like all the extras, I guess. Like his face, his wings, and all those things. So there's a decrease that's gonna land like right on the one with the C-clip on it. Just do the decrease, and honestly at this point we can take the C-clip out, but I'm gonna go ahead and put the C-clip on this band so I can finish stuffing the butt, just so that way it can kind of hold the band while I stuff him. But after that, I'm gonna count around with you, and then pretty much all we're gonna do is we are gonna decrease everything until it's closed. So every single stitch we do will be a decrease. But first I'm just gonna count to make sure I have the correct number of stitches. After I stuff his butt though, because he needs some stuffing. You know, it's funny because I think on the last goose I understuffed him a little bit, so I'm trying to like really stuff this guy. It was because I stuffed him too early. I think I stuffed him like in the last row and I should have stuffed him this row. I don't know. I don't know. Well, I do know, but I don't know. Okay. So, I'm gonna go ahead and put my hook back in. I'm gonna count around. So we should be at, let me make sure my camera's focused. So we should be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we should be at 9 loops right now. But if I'm being perfectly honest, because we're at the end, if you have 8 loops or you have 10 loops, it's not the biggest deal because we're about to decrease everything until it's closed, and just go ahead and close it up. So we can take our C-clip out at this point. Like I already mentioned, I was kind of just using the C-clip just to hold everything so it doesn't completely explode while I was trying to stuff him. But like I said, we're decreasing everything until it's closed. So every single stitch we do is going to be a decrease until we can't decrease anymore. So you grab the inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop, you make a stitch, and we just keep doing this all the way around. And make a stitch. We're just decreasing until it's closed. and it's kind of really hard to see what I'm doing because it's starting to get really tight, so it's kind of hard for me to show you what I'm doing. But once it gets tight enough that you feel like you cannot like kind of see what loops are what anymore, and I feel like that this is going to be the last decrease for me. So once I have that last decrease up on my hook, I'm just going to pull a band through everything on my hook, push the back one over the front one, and go ahead and pull tight. And then we're going to take the tail and we're just going to tuck it into our goose. And then that's pretty much it for the goose body. So this next couple steps happen pretty quickly. He doesn't have too many, I don't know, like add-ons. We just need to put his wing, beak, and face on. He's pretty much looking very goose-like right now. What should we start with? I think I'm going to start with the feet, and then we'll do the beak and we'll do the wings last, because that's kind of the order I did it last time. So we'll start with the feet, and the feet are pretty simple. We're just going to kind of like make toes and then do the rest of the leg. And I'll show you how to make one foot, and then you can go up and do the other foot. So I'm going to be using orange for his legs again, but I think it would actually be totally cute if you did like multicolor legs or something. But I'm going to just do orange again. So you're going to start by wrapping a band 4 times around your hook. So you're going to wrap it 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to take another band, double it, and then you're going to slide the cat band onto that band. Like that. And we're going to repeat this to make these little things. These are pretty much going to be his toes 2 more times, so he has like three little toes. That's basically what we're doing. So we're going to repeat that 2 more times. So we're going to wrap a band 4 times around our hook. Like that. And then we're going to double a band and then just slide the cat band onto it. And we're going to do that 1 more time. And if it looked confusing what I did last time, basically to do a 4 like wrapped cat band, you can wrap it twice, wrap both loops and wrap it again. And that'll be wrapped 4 times. And then just double a band. Pull it through. Put both ends back on your hook. I learned the cat band trick from Feeling Spiffy, so if you've seen it somewhere, I totally stole it from her. Just like the wrapping it twice and then wrapping it again thing. It's totally a Feeling Spiffy thing. Who's the loomer? If you don't know of her, it's hard to think that some of you guys might not know Feeling Spiffy because she was like who I used to watch with all her happy foods. I feel like everyone knows of her happy foods though. Anyways. So now we're going to chain up 6 just doubled bands. So we're going to double a band. We're going to slide everything. So we're going to slide all of these toes onto that doubled band. Like that. That'll be 1 chain. Like I said, we have to chain up 6, so we're going to do 5 more. So we're going to double a band, pull everything onto it, and then put both ends back on our hook. That's 2. 3. Ah, I lost one of the loops. 3. 4. 5. And we gotta do 1 more. 6. Oops. Just accidentally let go of everything. But 6. So now you should have something that looks like this, so you should have a little foot on the end. And you can make his legs a little longer if you'd like. This is just the length I like to make his legs. I think this guy has a little bit stubbier legs, but I decided to make them a little longer. But we're just going to take a white band, slide this onto the white band. We're going to hold it, and then we're just going to tie it like right in front here. I like to kind of make it look like he's sitting down, just for fun. So we'll just tie it like right in front. You know, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if geese actually have legs like this. I just did this for fun. I thought it looked cute. I thought it was cute how he looked like he was sitting. So you would make another leg and then put it on the other side. I'm gonna go ahead and pause and make the other leg right now. And then put it on the other side. But just a quick note on his feet. So if you want his feet to look like they're bent upward, like how I did for this guy and how I did for this guy, what you're gonna do is you see the one, like you can kind of see all the toes are on this chain right here. You're gonna put your hook through that chain, and then you're just gonna hold it and you're just gonna pull up. Like that. and then it'll turn the foot inward and it'll look kind of like he's sitting. So I'm gonna pause real quick, make the other leg, and then I'll show you what to do next. But yeah, if you want to know how to make the leg again, you can just rewind, watch it, or you can look at the pattern in the description, whichever works for you. Okay, so I did one leg, well I did the other leg and I added one wing because I wasn't entirely sure if I remembered how to do the wings, but I did. So I'm gonna show you how to do the other wing, and if you did the 2 legs, you should have 2 legs now. But we're gonna do the other wing, and after this we just have to do the beak and attach the eyes, and our goose is done. I feel like the goose, like, he comes together really quickly. I always say this about all my designs. So I'm gonna put the wing, because I already put this wing on, I'm just gonna go across from it, but you can kind of see I'm putting the wing about right here. I'm gonna go in right here at the front, and I'm gonna chain up 1, so I'm gonna pull a band through, put both ends back on my hook, and then I'm gonna put 2 stitches in this chain. So I'm gonna go ahead and do 1, and you're gonna kind of want the stitches to kind of go towards the bottom, as you can see, like towards the outside bottom, if that makes sense. You're gonna go back in, do 2, then we're gonna go back in again, and we're gonna chain up 1, and now you can kind of see what I mean by the stitches are like on the bottom of the chain, so there's like the top of the chain and the bottom of the chain, and mine are kind of on the bottom. You want it to be like that. But now that we've chained up 1 after doing the 2 stitches in the first one, we're going to do 2 more stitches in this one. So we're going to go ahead and do 1, and then 2. That. So we have 2 chains with 2 stitches in it. We're going to go ahead and chain up 1 more time. And then we're going to put 3 stitches into this last chain. So 1, 2, and then 3. So we put 3 stitches in that last chain. And now we're going to go through the chain, and we're going to go through part of the like duck wherever the wing lands. Not the duck, the goose. So we're just going to go about right here. And then we're just going to pull a band through everything on our hook. And then put the back one over the front one and pull tight. If I didn't lose the band. But yeah, you'll pull it through everything. Then you'll push the back one over the front one. Yeah. Keep losing bands. Push the back one over the front one and you pull tight. And then you should have your wing, and you don't have to really attach anything else. It should just be on there. It should be fine. Yeah, that's how you make a wing. And you don't have to give your goose wing. I gave this guy wings. I didn't give this one wings. I kind of liked him wingless, but I kind of like the wings now, so maybe I'll give the other guy wings. But yeah. So you're going to want to go ahead and make the other wing. You just do the exact same thing on the other side. But the very last thing we have to do is the beak. So you're going to want to get your orange again. I don't know why I'm picking up so many orange bands. Like, we're just doing the beak, we don't need this many. But we're gonna come right here in the front of the face. I usually like to start at the top of the beak, and we're gonna stitch around about 6 times. You could do like 5 or 6 stitches in a circle. So I'm gonna start right here. I like to start at the top, like I already mentioned. So we're gonna go 1. 1. Ooh, if I could grab only 1 band. 1. Then I'm gonna come, should I come, yeah, we'll come right here. 2, 3, 4, and you can stitch around like 5 or 6 times. I'm gonna do 6, I think. So it's kind of hard seeing where you should stitch in. I just try to keep the beak at the like center of the head. 5, oop, 5, and then 6. I keep dropping all my bands right now and I don't know why. But once you've stitched around 6 times, you're just going to count to make sure you have 6. So you start by counting the 1 your hooks. You have 1. Did I flip these over backwards? What the heck did I do here? Sorry, I looped them weird. Hold up. I got all tangled. It's because I kept, oh my god. It's because my hook kept coming out. Okay, so if you count, you should have 6. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you have 5, that's totally okay. It's just like how big you want your beak to be. Then we're gonna come to the first loop, make a stitch on that one. And okay, here's where you kind of have a decision to make if you want like a bigger beak or a smaller beak. This guy has like a little baby beak. I'm gonna be doing one of these today. But if you wanted him to have like a little bit of a longer beak, which is what I feel like gooses like actually have, is like this longer beak, you would put a C-clip on this one, and then you would do 1 row of single stitches and then close it up. But because I want to do the shorter beak, I'm just gonna start closing it up right now. So I'm gonna start decreasing everything until I can't decrease anymore. So I'm just gonna be decreasing everything until I can't anymore. And this is for the shorter beak. So like I said, if you wanted to do the longer beak, you would put a C-clip, do 1 row normal, and then decrease everything till close. But I kind of like the shorter beak better. I don't know. The big one, like, it feels more goose-like, but it feels kind of obnoxious. But once you have the very last decrease you could do up on your hook, you're going to pull a band through everything on your hook, push the back one over the front one, and pull tight. And a key thing with the beak is not to pull like the tail like all the way in so it's flat. You want to kind of leave it out a little bit so it looks pointy. And you just kind of don't pull it in all the way. You just pull it in enough to like hide the tail so you don't see it, but like you also leave enough so that way it's still pointy. I don't know, I just like the shorter beak better. Maybe the taller one is better, I don't know. Cause like look, the short beak's like a little stub. And then you have like the long beak, and I don't know, I think it's just preference. I like the shorter one, but that's just a me thing. So the very last thing we have to do is add eyes. If you don't have eyes, you can wrap a band 4 times around your hook, like a black band, and then pull a, well, I can show you. But if you don't have beads, I have beads and now they're rolling everywhere. If you don't have beads, you could take a black band. I know my band's orange, but let's just ignore that. Wrap it 4 times around your hook, or 5. You could wrap it 5 times if you wanted a little tighter. And then you would just pull a white band through. And you would do this in black, obviously, for the eye, or whatever color you want your goose's eye to be. And then you could tie this in and it would work as an eye. But because I have beads, I'm going to use them. So I'm just going to string my bead onto a band. So I'm gonna take a piece of floss, literally it's dental floss. I'm gonna put my bead on the floss, put my band on the floss, and then you kind of fold over and then go back through the bead. This part, it's so hard to see what I'm doing. I get like so close to the camera because I'm like, I can't see what's going on. But you'll go back through the bead, and then you'll just slide your bead onto the band. And then you'll use that to tie into your goose and have an eye. You could also use really tiny safety eyes, or I don't know, whatever you use for eyes. I've just always used beads, so I'm using beads. See, I'm really torn on the beak situation because I'm like, should I have given my goose like a bigger beak? I don't know. We'll see how he looks after his eyeballs. But I kind of like the tiny beak. It's like such a baby beak. Anyways, I'm going to pick where I want the eyes. I think I'm going to go right here for this one, the first one. About right here. I'm going to use that band and just tie it in. Like that. Then you just hide your tail. Here we go. Oh my god, he's looking so much like a goose right now. And then we're gonna come to the other side and do the exact same thing. Just tie our eyes in. Like that. And we hide our tail. Okay, I kind of really like the tiny beak, but I do feel like the other beak is more like a goose, but I like his little baby beak. It's definitely gonna come down to like a preference thing, what you want to do, but I really like the baby beak. Sorry, I'm just squishing his face and making sure I like how he looks. Sometimes with bands, it can be fixed with a little bit of squishing. Because I was just like squishing the beak into a point to make sure it was like pointy enough. And then like sometimes just like squishing the tail to make sure it's like turned up how you want it. But I think that's pretty much it for this guy. He's got all his limbs. You could decide if you want if you like the longer or shorter beak better. I'm on the fence about it. I don't know which I like better. I like the tiny one, but I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. Okay. Anyways, I think that is it for this tutorial. I hope your goose came out okay. If you make one of these guys, don't forget to share them with me. I love seeing them. Even if I don't comment on them right away, I do always see them and I save them. And I really I have an Instagram like save thing full of all the stuff you guys have made that you have shared with me. So don't forget to share them with me if you make a goose. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more tutorials from me. I have so much more stuff coming. Man, I have them. They're in my backpack. But I recently made a flower design. You can see it on my Instagram, which is linked down below if you want to check me out anywhere else. You can also keep up with me on Instagram to see if I ever disappear again, where I go. I post a lot of stuff from school on my Instagram and just what I'm up to. So if you want to see what kind of art I'm making and just whatever I get up to when I'm not doing Rainbowloom, because I spam a lot from school on there too. But it's almost summer break for me, so I've almost made it. And yeah, I also have my Etsy shop down below if you want to check anything out. I have a couple different things on there, so you can check that out. But yeah, I think that is it for this video. I hope you liked it. I hope your gooses turned out okay. Do not forget to share them with me if you make one. I want to see everybody's gooses. I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, I think that is it for this tutorial. I will see you in the next one. Bye.